Awesome. All right. So let's go. Essentially, all the scripting is accessed through your My Scripts. I have a ton of scripts of my own, and you probably have this either empty or not. I don't know. Maybe you tried something already. There are public scripts that you can copy. You just select the script and you can save it to My Scripts, and it will appear here. And then you can play with it, edit it, run it, and so on. Also, there is right here a help menu. So it's kind of not obvious, but it's very important for those who want to learn scripting and who want to do algorithms and algorithmic investing. So you click here, and what you can see is essentially table of contents. Scroll all the way down. So there are all kinds of functions described here that you can use. And scripting that specifically available on Tickernomics is quite unique because it covers pretty much everything you can imagine. You can screen super investors with a script. You don't need to go to UI to learn about super. You can actually write a script to daily parse everything super investors do, for example. There are very few platforms that allow it, especially for free. And obviously our platform is completely free, so that's probably good. Then there are ETFs, funds, functions. You can do your own portfolio. You can literally write scripts that can construct your portfolio, so you don't need to manually input transactions through the UI. And the whole Tickernomics platform was thought as script first. So every function you see in the UI is actually possible to also do through scripting. That's very important for us, including macroeconomics. Yeah, everything is available here. Okay, so that's help. You can read it when you want. So I will start with like very basic. I'll assume you know nothing about scripting, nothing about programming, and we'll start with very few basic things. And the language we use is called Lua. So when you click new, you get your new name. You can type some different name, like my first script. And essentially you click save. This is like empty program right now. And the language is called Lua, like this, Lua. And it was coming from Roblox. It's a famous platform for kids. And we chose this scripting language because kids use it to write their own games on that Roblox popular platform. You can read about Roblox. It's like this. So if kids, like 10-year-old kids, can learn it and do the programming, obviously adults can do as well. And it's extremely simple. And for programming or scripting on this platform, you just need to learn three basic things. First is what is variable. So variable is declared like you can call it any name, like A, right? And you can assign a number or text to it. So you can say A equals 3, right? And this is a variable like in math. In the formulas, you use X, Y, Z. You can call it X, for example, as well, doesn't matter. And variable holds a value. It's a number or a string of text or whatever. And obviously, you can print it on a screen. And printing on a screen, the contents of variable, you use command called println, or print. Ln means line, so it prints one line on the screen. And I can just write like this, println x, and this is like supposed to print what is inside of this variable, right? So I click save, I click run. And you get your output 3 right here. So that's like the most basic thing you could do. A lot of programming lessons start with hello world, so we can do that as well. Hello world. And we can run it again. And you get your hello world right there. Now, hopefully you understand what variable is at this point. So the next, remember I told you, you need to know only three things to pretty much do almost anything on the platform in terms of programming. So that was one called variables, right? And the second very important thing is a for loop. And we'll go back to numbers. So let's say x equal 1. And now what we will do, we'll do a for loop. And I'm extremely I really don't like to remember specifics of each computer language. I know a few, and I sometimes get confused myself with all the different constructs, a syntax of different programming languages. So there is a very helpful thing over here that can help you achieve a lot of small tasks when you do coding. And there is a for loop right there. So this is a template for that, right? So I click on it, and it inserts a for loop, like basic for loop already there. You don't even need to type it. Another thing that I highly recommend to do is to write comments. Comments is done with 2 dashes, and this is like end of for loop. You can write anything here you want. And essentially, let's look at it closer now. So first of all, for loop starts with a variable called I, but I want to use X in my case. So we can use X, and then it says equal, and then 1 is like first number, right? And then you have a comma, and this is last number. So essentially what for loop means, this construct means, is that X will be equal 1, then 2, then 3, and all the way until it reaches 10. This last thing is increment, how much you, with each iteration or running of code inside of for loop, it continues. So I will remove it just to not confuse you, it doesn't matter. And what we essentially have is just variable and starting value of variable and ending value of variable. So here you see it's supposed to go all the way from 1 to 10, pretty much. And what is inside of for loop will execute. So in our case, we'll run a command called println, which we just saw what it can do. And it will print this value of the variable. So this part will also remove from the pattern. So we'll remove that as well. And we'll just keep X. So we'll print X as it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So that's for loop. So let's run it. And that's what we got, right? We got 1, 2, exactly what we predicted, right? So that's our for loop. And that's number 2 of 3 most important things in coding on this platform. And I hope you all learn it. So to make sure, if someone didn't get something, please ask me a question, either with your voice or in a chat. All right, so I think everybody got it. Awesome. Okay, so we'll go and see what else we can do, right? So next stage. So now the third and last important construct in programming on the platform is if then. And we also have a pattern for it right here, right? So let me for now comment out. Comment out meaning I kind of temporarily disable this code, will not use it. And we'll just insert this if then else construct. And actually, I'm not interested in else for now. I don't want to confuse you again. So we'll just have if and then, the easiest part, right? And essentially what it is we have a condition after if. So if, and then x equal 2, then we'll do something. And in my case, I'll print x is indeed 2, right? And let me just run it. And we don't have that string here. That's because x is not 2, right? It's 1. So let's assign 2 right here. Click run. And we have our output right here. X is indeed 2. So that's the last of the 3 important concepts. So you have your if statement, which essentially checks a condition here. In this case, this 2 equal signs means a check for equality, right? If you want to check for not equal, you use this strange symbol tilde. If you want to use more than 2, more than, you can also use less, depending on what. And if this condition is indeed matched, then we execute something between then and end. In this case, we print out this thing. That's it, perfect. So that's 3 most important things. And now after we learn these most basic things, let's do something at least somewhat useful, right? So the difference from just, you can code in any other platform, right? So why you want to code inside of this platform is because you have access to all the data. So all the companies, ETFs, super investors, macro data, and everything is accessible on the platform. So let's do at least something useful. Like, for example, let's go through all the companies available on the platform. It's about 10,000 different stocks. Let's find stocks and print them that have, let's say, revenue that grew by 10% or more last quarter, something like that, right? So let me just delete all of that. And again, I like to use templates. It's very easy. So there is this template called list companies. So when I click it, I get a for loop. So we'll go line by line with this for loop. And essentially what we have is a variable I that equals 0. And then we call get ticket count. Actually, -1 is not important. Get ticket count. So this is the first one of the functions. So when you hover your mouse over function, it explains what it does. So in this case, get ticket count, total accessible tickers. So it gives you just a number of total accessible tickers. And actually, let's print the value of this function. And let's call it all tickers. You can call it anything. You just need to call this new variable this way as well. All tickers equal this. So what I just did, I assigned to a variable that I just declared, and you can call it anything you want, total ticker counts. And I just want to print it, so I at least know what the number is. And this is just the word. So we can say something like all tickers is. And then I use another Lua specific strange symbol called 2 dots. And essentially what it does, it concatenates different strings or numbers or variables. So in this case, I add this variable. So what it will print this fixed string or text, all tickers is. And then it will print the value inside of this variable, which we just assigned in this line, right? I will comment the rest for now, so just to not confuse you. So click run. And we got our number. So 8,740. All tickers is 8,000. So we have 8,740 active companies. Get all ticker count. If you noticed in the description, you can also pass here true like this, if you read carefully, and it will include delisted companies. So you can actually research companies from the past that were delisted, but we'll not do it now. So that's how we know we have about 8,700 whatever companies. Now let's go back to our for loop. So in our for loop, we have I as our variable that just keeps incrementing, right? and starts with 0 and goes all the way to 8,700, whatever number of tickers we have. Then in this line, line 5, and this is very important to understand. So I will take a pause to just wait for you to ask questions. So this function, if you hover over it and read what it does, it gives you a ticker. It gives you a ticker by its index. So you pass 0, it gives you some ticker that is stored in our system at index 0. Then at index 1, when you go for loop runs again, I equal 1, it will return next ticker in that list. So imagine this long list of tickers that we store, and we index each of them by this unique number that we increment in this for loop. And then we just print the ticker. So that's what we do here. I will take a pause. I want to make sure you guys understand that. And please ask me if you didn't. Awesome. I'm happy you guys got it. All right. So now this is probably the hardest part to break through, and then the rest will be easy. So let me just run it. So let's go all the way up. So we actually got this giant list. We start with index 0 gives us Apple, then NVIDIA, Microsoft. So actually, indexes, the lower index usually tends to give you a larger company. So you probably recognize all these tickers here, Meta, Tesla, and so on. So you got all the big guys first, but then you get all the other ones, all 8,000 whatever tickers. So you got and printed all the tickers in our system. These weird tickers at the end, those are industries. So we treat, these are our own unique tickers that we assign to industries. So you can research sectors in industries same way as companies in our system. I will talk about it later. So we got our tickers printed. This is still not very useful. Remember, our task was to find companies that grew revenues 5% by a lot. So let's go get revenue growth, right? So I declare a new variable called revenue growth, and I use a command. And again, you can go to help and read all the commands that are available in the system. There are hundreds of them, and I just know them because I use them a lot. So we have get xbrl latest, and the name of this command is quite confusing because I don't know if you know what xbrl is. It's a Federal Reserve or government database of data. So it's one of the data sources that we use. And essentially, you call this command, and the first argument, if you see when I hover mouse, it says ticker first. So first we need to pass a ticker for data that we want to extract. So in this case, it will be every ticker in our system. We go through every ticker. Then this next is called segment, and we will not use it for now. So I just pass empty string. And the final one is a value, and that's what we want to know. And here's a help of all the values available. So let's go all the way to so-called values, prefixed values. These are like main metrics, we call them, and they're most popular, most used values. So in our case, we want to go to revenue stuff. Let's go all the way to revenue. So we have all kinds of revenue values, revenue. If it is just revenue, that's quarterly. This is annual. This is growth year on year. We could use growth year on year actually, or TTM 12 trailing months growth year on year. Let me try quarterly. Yeah, that's that. Let's try. What do we want? I'm not sure. Let's do this one. I like year on year growth. So we'll go get our revenue growth here in this variable now. And let's for now just print it. So we'll print every ticker remember we use this concatenation of strings or text operator, then I will just use space. If I don't use that, then ticker will immediately follow it by number, so it's not very nice. So I add space, I append next one, and then revenue growth. So if I use control space, it gives me suggestions, by the way. So the hint is right here, control space to get comment suggestions and control D to delete a line. So that's it, ticker, revenue growth, right? So save, run. So we got, starting with Apple, so we have all these numbers here printed, and now we can complement it with if statements. So we'll put if, now revenue, I think I said like we want more than 10%, right? I think something like that. Then, and then we'll only print when revenue growth is pretty big. Like 10 is actually not that great. Let's put something exciting. So what we got here, a shorter list, but still a significant. So we obviously have NVIDIA with giant growth, a video, then what else we have? Goldman Sachs, really? That's a lot. Okay, so we got a smaller list now, and pretty much that's how you do screening, right? Stock screening. But you can do stock screening through the screener. So why would you need scripting? Scripting allows you to do much more, and something that screener cannot do. You can do advanced techniques, and let's do something you cannot do in a screener. For example, what if we try to find out not just revenue growth, but how this revenue growth was compared to industry growth of the stock this industry belongs to. So now let's pull out industry information, right? So how do we do that? Okay, let's call it industry name. And the function, as far as I remember, called get company property string ticker. So this is information for generic information for this ticker. We can pull the name of a company. Would be useful, actually. Let's print names of companies, right? So let's just copy this. We'll just call it name. So we just pull a name of a company, not just ticker, because I don't remember all the tickers with my heart, all 8,000 tickers. It's really hard to remember. Maybe those who work for 30 years in industry know all of them, but not me. So here's industry name. So we'll get our industry. And let's print all of this. So this is going to be pretty long concatenation here. So ticker, then name, then we'll add space again, and then industry name. Industry name, and then one more space. Okay, so something like this. So we'll print ticker, space, name of a company, space, industry name, space, and then revenue growth. So let's run this. Okay, let's go all the way to the top. So we have NVIDIA Corp, semiconductors, and 93%. Video, Broadcom, semiconductors, 51%. Wells Fargo, Blackstone, Goldman Sachs, and so on. So you can see it printed quite a few pieces of information for us. So now, I remember we want to find how a revenue of our company grew relative to industry within that. So we want essentially how much this company grew, because maybe whole industry grew, but I really want to see how much specifically our company outgrown industry. So now we need to pull revenue growth for the industry, right? To do the comparison. So that's where the next function will be used. So let's call it industry growth. And the function, something with industry word in it, industry name to ticker. Okay. Actually, yeah, one other thing I forgot to explain, sorry. Industry name is not what we use to retrieve information. We just need a ticker. Remember those strange tickers that we have? So ticker industry, we call it. And we'll get industry name to ticker conversion. So we have our industry here, name of industry, and we put it as an input parameter. And this one industry name, the ticker will return the ticker for the industry. And that's what we'll use. We'll use exactly same command as we retrieve the growth, revenue growth, but now we'll do it just for industry ticker. This will give us industry growth. So instead of company ticker, we'll use ticker industry, right? So that's the only difference. Ticker industry. Okay, so we got our industry growth, and now we'll just need to probably print it out as well. So let's just print it next to normal revenue growth. You can easily go to the next line if it goes too long. So this is not a problem. Okay, industry growth. So we'll print revenue growth and then industry growth. So let's print it. So actually, it's negative growth for the industry, which is interesting. I didn't expect that to see for semiconductors. Oh, that I can see where it comes from. It's because of South Korea. South Korean companies didn't do very well. That's possible. Then we have like Wells Fargo surprising growth year on year for revenue compared to the bank diversified industry, right? That's very interesting. So let's see, Goldman Sachs, huge revenue growth as well. RTX, it's a defense company. Okay. Yeah, industry in defense is like roughly 10% growth, but this company grew a lot, so it's interesting as well. Now, that gives us some information. So maybe next step is to do some math, and we'll do it here. So we'll do like how we measure this. So we can take like revenue growth minus industry growth. We call it like percent. Like percent leadership or something. I don't know how to call this variable. Leader, percent leader. Okay, that sounds okay. And we'll divide it by industry growth. So this gives us difference divided by industry growth. Of course, revenue growth should be bigger than industry growth. We are not interested in companies that grew less than industry. So we can add another condition in if statement. If revenue growth for company is bigger than industry growth itself for that company. So we're only interested in those that outgrown the industry. And then we also calculate the percentage. I think that's probably we need to multiply by 100 to get to percent. And we'll print percent leader. And actually, let's actually do one more if. now programs get complicated, right? That's advantage of programs. You can get really complicated if you want to. So percent leader bigger than 30%. So it outgrown its own industry by 30%, right? So then, and then we'll print it. So we'll have a much smaller subset, hopefully. Still significant, but okay. Well, now we have our Wells Fargo. NVIDIA is gone because I guess it was less than that. Goldman Sachs, RTX. So now Pfizer is interesting. Oh, but I also know that Pfizer dropped in price a lot. So that is so strange. I would look at Pfizer now. That's interesting. Okay, so that's how you write programs to mine data, and that concludes our primary session. I will show you one more important thing: how to create custom charts in our systems. But for this section, for custom scripted screeners, I think we are done. So I'm just waiting for your questions.
Yeah, Laurie. Hey, Aman here. This is a great presentation.
Not hear you guys. That's
Can you hear
strange.
me?
You can ask me a question in a chat, though.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Let me see. Maybe it's my problem here. Hmm. Let me turn off my microphone. If somebody tried to ask a question with the voice, you can ask now. Try it again.
Oh, I just posted my question in chat.
Oh, I can hear you. I can hear you, Aman, now. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was just about 5 minutes late, so I missed the first
Oh,
portion. So
okay.
I'm just curious, how do you access this screen? And you mentioned there's help, right? So where is
Yeah.
help to?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's we probably need to make it a little bit more obvious where it is. The help is actually accessible right from this screen. It's right here, but
Oh,
it's
okay.
also at the bottom of main screen right there as well. So when you click help, it opens this window, which you can pretty much find all the functions here and the descriptions. There are a lot of them, a few hundred of them, so we cannot cover it in a webinar, but there are a lot of sections that you can read through and learn. And also there is, from my experience, the best way to learn things is just to look at other people's scripts. And also there are script templates here that achieve certain tasks, like print insiders, print fund ownership, for example, right? What else? Create a chart. That will do next, by the way, and so on. You can create your own table and so on. Analyze ETFs. So you can learn from these tiny examples or templates or public scripts that are published here, but also, of course, from help. Okay.
Okay. And how do I access the screen? Like, how do I get into the screen to code?
Oh, the code. That's so once you're on a platform, you go to My Scripts,
Oh, okay.
and then you click New, and you will have a new empty script that you can start writing.
Okay, perfect. And just one last question. Is there somewhere we can access, analyst rating?
Analyst rating. Let me see if we have. So by the way, all the properties of companies are also can be, you can see all names of them right here in a chart. So you go to any
Okay.
company, there's charts, and then when you scroll through this huge list, these are all things that we have accessible. So I think we don't have analyst charts, but we have, I think it's called sentiment or something. Let me see. Yeah, maybe. Oh, yeah, there is something.
Oh, yeah, actually, I
Okay.
saw it right there. Yeah,
Yeah,
analyst
yeah.
by, yeah.
Yeah, so you can
Okay.
read these variables, analyst by, analyst whole. Let's actually try this. I never tried analyst. I don't trust analyst much. Let's see analyst by property. So let's do that. So quickly list all the companies again with a template, and we'll pull that property. Get XPRL latest ticker. I think it's called analyst something. Let's see, analyst by. See what we'll see there. Never used it before.
Right. No.
Not many have it, but no, actually some have it.
But it
Okay,
does give
so
us
analyst
something.
by
Yeah.
7, for example, for this stock. So you can use this property. It's there. And also, when we go to draw a chart, I will show you the true power of this platform. We have access not just for current data, like for analyst by, for this stock is ZS. Let's actually find this stock. So let's go to that stock, ZS. I don't know what DS is. So let's go to that property, property analyst by. So we don't have historic data a lot for this specific company, and we only track it for a few years. But you can see that more analysts give it buy rating. So for example, in 2023, there were only 6. You can see the number right there.
Right.
6, and then before that only 5. So now it's 8. So clearly more analysts vote for this company. Let's go to more famous company. Let's go to something big. Let's see how long back we have information about it. Not long as well. Okay, we don't track it for too long. So 14. The oldest record is 16, and then when you see like this, it means data is not available. So the latest number was 16, then 14, 12, now actually 12. So for some reason, they don't recommend it as much. The same for analyst cell. So there was a property for that as well. So that's how you access it in script. And again, you can build your own strategies with those if statements, and you can read all kinds of properties and build your own strategy with that.
Oh, great. Thank you.
All right. So any other question? Let me check the chat. Okay. No other questions. All right. So okay. So we'll go to the second part, and in second part we'll show the power of building your own charts, right? And actually, I want to go to. Let me see. Have a pre-created script. Just give me a second for that. And I will explain what the script does. So let's go line by line. So first line, the charts that are time charts, so charts that you go like day by day over a long period of time are called by day charts. So when you see by day in a function name, that means it's a chart that we deal with, in this case, by day. And I probably don't want you to see the whole program to just not get you confused at first. So let me just delete it. Sorry, it probably was a bad idea to just show you the whole program. let's go slow and line by line. So delete by day means we delete previous chart, and this is the name of a chart. And the chart name here is NVIDIA dominance chart, and it's just a name. I will see what it is in a few minutes. But first, let's just go and do a for loop again. But this time we'll go and do a for loop over days, not tickers, but days. And we'll go many years back. So let's start with today's day. So I call this variable today, and there is a function that gives us today's day in the system. And the way we coded it, a lot of other scripting systems out there, they use actual dates like year, months, and day, right? But this is very inconvenient for loops because for loops work incrementally, like 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's in our system, we use just numbers. So today is just a number. If I print it, you'll see just some number. Probably gonna be pretty big number because we have more than 14 years of data now. So that means 14 multiplied by 365. So it will be pretty big number. So today is just that number in the system. And what I will do, I will go back. So we'll declare variable I equal today. Actually, yeah, today, sorry. And I was wrong. 0 to today. Okay. From 0 to today. We'll go from 0 to today and then end. So what we'll do every day, we will chart 1 point on a chart. So let's actually find, I think it's called by day. Set probe by day. This one. So set probe by day, and again, it's described all in help. But this function, what it will do, it will set one number at a specific day. So if you see, the first property is just name, and this will be our chart name. This is how we call our chart. And like, I can call it anything, like my own chart. Let's call it just my own chart, right? And you just pass that here. Then the next thing it expects is day, and we'll pass this I variable. So today's day, actually 0, 1, 2, 3, and all the way till today day. And the next one will be a number. And what this number is going to be, let's say, revenue, right? So I'll get revenue from NVIDIA. This time we'll not use getXBRL latest function like last time, but just getXBRL. And you probably already noticed this getXBRL is one of the most important functions, pulls pretty much any property for industry or stock. So we'll pass ticker NVIDIA because we are just studying specific company in this case. And we'll pass day, which is I, and then empty string for segment always empty, and then value name. And value name will be our revenue. Revenue. And let me just find it. Revenue. Revenue, and let's use TTM this time, trailing 12 months revenue. And that's it. So we'll pull the revenue and we'll set the value right here, like this. The only thing I realized, they release revenue quarterly, right? So it doesn't need to be every single day. So we'll just put comma here and put a step of like 30 days. Every 30 days we'll do that. So now we'll set this value every 30 days, the revenue that we just pulled, right? So let's see what happens. Now, the chart we just created called my own chart. To find the chart, you go to Inside Charts right here. And there are many charts here that come from the system, but the first one is the one you just created by yourself, right? So if you see, there are lots and lots of charts. Like commodity lead, you can look at lead prices over time, right? But you also created your own chart with a script. It's right at the top. And this is that script. So my own chart, right? And this is how the chart looks like, right? And let's see, we did it for NVIDIA as far as I remember, right? So let's go to NVIDIA and should repeat revenue chart here, or be very similar at least to it. So this is revenue. Let me just move away this one. So looks very similar, isn't it? So we just created, so there is no point to obviously create a revenue chart because we already have a revenue chart. But you probably guess where I'm going with this. Now you can create completely custom chart of your own liking, whatever you want. And last time I think we did this leadership kind of revenue leadership thing we did previously, right? So let's do that. Let's pull industry again for this company. Industry. Okay. Let's pull the ticker for that industry. This ticker, and let's pull revenue for the industry. Yep. Call this variable revenue industry, and we'll use ticker for industry. Ticker, oh, industry ticker, sorry, industry ticker. Okay, so we have revenue for industry and revenue. Let's calculate now percentage like leadership. Oh, and I actually, sorry for that. I had to use growth, right? We are interested in growth. I messed up. What was it? Revenue. Don't remember what it was. It's supposed to help, give me a help. Why it doesn't give me a help? TTM growth year on year. It's pretty long name. I want growth, not just revenue. We'll do the same for industry. And we'll calculate that. Well, we can just, because it's now percentages, right? So we can just subtract the two and see the difference. That will be already helpful. So revenue minus revenue growth for industry. Okay, so now we'll see something interesting. We'll see how revenue grew for NVIDIA faster than for its industry, right? So let's see, and we'll actually see it over time. So let's run that. That's the chart. So what we can see is that NVIDIA is indeed was because it grew so much faster than the industry in last few quarters. That's why its stock price was rewarded. Maybe not as much as it should, but that explains a lot, right? And we can also see some kind of cycle. Actually, I didn't know it existed. It's interesting that it's kind of cycling like this. that advantage in revenue growth. So that's pretty much it. We're almost at 1 hour. I leave. We have like 8 minutes for any extra questions. And of course, this is just the first very basic webinar. We can do much more advanced things later. So let me just open again the screen. You guys can ask me a question in a chat or just with your voice.
Can I ask, how do you get, I actually had tried using your screener a few days back,
Mhm.
but I wasn't sure, like if you go to screener, you do choose a criteria and then it says there's an equal, and I couldn't figure out how you actually use your screener.
Oh, the
So
screener.
this has nothing to do with scripting, but it's just a general question. Yeah.
General, yeah, I don't use screener a lot, so if I might not be able to even ask it.
Yeah. See,
But
what I'm saying is if you put, in one of the boxes, you put the criteria, and then I don't know how it works. Yeah, there.
So how it's supposed to work, you put any property and then a comparison, like let's say assets are more than, and numbers are always in millions for numbers here. So that would be 1 billion, let's say
Mhm.
100 billion. So it's really gonna filter out only very large companies. And then you just click run. That's how it's supposed to work. Let's see if it's true. So it prints the output that you just use assets, and the stickers are right here.
Okay.
Uh, I think it did work, right? So it only filtered. You can also sort by columns, obviously. So yeah, it filtered everything above 100, 100,000 millions. So that's what it did. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
And you can add more conditions. So it's how it's designed. You add more condition. Now let's say, remember we used revenue TTM grows year on year. So we can try that as well with like 50%. Let's put big number. Now I have very small list of large companies, right? I think
Yeah.
it's include conditions. So you can also use exclude and so on.
Okay. I think I was trying to use ratios, so I don't know how ratio would work here. Like, um,
Ratios.
for example, if you want to add a ratio, I thought there was an option somewhere. Uh, yeah,
Which
like
one?
if you want to use like even PG ratio as an example, or PE ratio.
MMP. Okay. Yeah, and you want to see it like smaller or bigger number? What do you want to?
Smaller, let's say, if I want to go under, whatever, 10, for example, right? So how would
110.
that work?
Okay. And let's remove this one just to keep it simple. So big company and revenue P is less than 10. Okay. I think it did it, right?
Oh, okay, so those are the ratios. Okay, maybe
Yeah, it
I did the
shows
landing page wrong.
columns. You
Yeah.
can also sort by them, by the way.
Okay.
The biggest one is 9.88, so it cut off anything above essentially 10 or 10
Okay.
itself.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm. Um, yeah, so that was a custom chart you created. So this tool can be used for like a deeper analysis of this kind. And in next webinars, we'll show how to create custom tables and custom content even, because the system allows these scripts create completely custom reports. Like these web pages here are like completely custom created with the script. So this is very unique, and I don't think we have any other platforms allowing that. Okay, so that's about it. Let's see if there are any more questions. I didn't see any other questions. Okay, thank you guys. It was hopefully helpful for you. Have a good night or day or whatever, because world is global. I don't know where you guys from, so have a good night and day.
Thank
Bye.
you. Great presentation.
Mhm.
Thank you.